Hey guys, it's Elizabeth from the Missionaries of God's Love in Tustin, California, and today I want to meditate and take a look at Romans 5, verses 7 through 8. And it reads, "Very rarely will anyone die for a righteous person, though for a good person, someone might possibly dare to die. But God demonstrated His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." I feel like this is such a beautiful and profound biblical phrase. It's something that we constantly hear. I feel like it's almost like a classical thing that we hear. Something that we frequently talk about, that God loves us so much that He gave us His only Son. But I want to try to take a step further and try to apply it to yourself. Like, would you die for someone out of love? Would you give your life out of love? And like how this Bible verse says, it's something very rare that people do. Because giving your life for another life is pretty big. It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna borrow you my car for a little bit, or oh, I'm gonna just give you a little bit of money here and there, or oh, yeah, you can borrow my shirt. But what I'm really saying is, like, even that, sometimes even that, just borrowing things or giving some of our money, our time, our love, just even a little bit, like, it costs us. It's not like so easy. Sometimes it's not easy at all. And so when we're reflecting on that God gave us His only Son out of love, I feel like in a way it's saying, God gave us everything. I mean, think about it. People who are parents, they love their kids so much that they work hard, they try to provide them everything that they need, try to give them support, try to help them maybe with their mental health, with their school. They try to do anything for them. But here, God was willing to give His only Son, the only one, for us. And I think what makes this Bible verse even more profound is the fact that, you know what? Sometimes we're not worth that love. If you think about it, like, we're sinners. It says that even if we were still sinners, Christ died for us. I find that to be so crazy because a lot of the times we're imperfect. We make mistakes. We sin. And sometimes we willingly go against God. Because sometimes we want just things to be our way. We don't want to give up things. We don't want to change. And I find that so crazy that even if we're imperfect, even if we don't deserve God's love, God still gives it to us. He still loves us. He still loves you. He still loves me, even with all our perfections. I mean, think about it. Again, putting this in your own shoes. Would you love someone who even makes mistakes, who makes you mad, who makes you upset, who maybe even does things wrong on purpose? Would you still love them? I feel like that's where a lot of us, where we draw the line. I mean, sometimes we even just stop loving because it's not convenient anymore, which isn't good. But I feel like this shows us that loving someone, even with their imperfections, is a challenge. It's not easy. Not impossible, but it can be really hard. On top of those two things, God giving His only Son and loving us even if we're imperfect. What makes his love even more beautiful is that this shows us that his love is infinite and perfect. God's love will always be faithful to you. He'll never let us down. He never will, and he never has. Even if there's moments that we've thought that God isn't there with us, even if there's moments that we don't understand, why is this happening to me? Why are so many bad things happening to me? Why is my life like this? Even through those bad moments, God still loves you, and sometimes we're just blind. Sometimes we just don't hear. Sometimes we're just stubborn and we don't want to receive God's love, but God's love is always there. Sometimes we're just a little bit rebellious, stubborn, scared, and we don't want to receive it, or we feel like we can't. But I want to bring you the good news that God loves you. God loves every single part of you, no matter how imperfect we are, because again, God gave us his only Son, Jesus Christ, for us. I don't know if that's not enough proof for you, I don't know what is, but I just want us to really not take this for granted anymore, because it's so easy to take things for granted. And I just want to remind you of how God's love is so good, it's so great, and how we should be so happy that even if life's messed up, even if things are so bad, we still have God, and we still have his love. He is the one who can bring you out of that darkness or those sad times or whatever you're going through. And on top of that invitation that we should not take God's love for granted, and that we should be really grateful for it and really acknowledge how wonderful it is, I feel like it also serves as an invitation for us to at least try to be a reflection of what God's love is. That we should try to have that love. We should have the love that Christ gave us, and we should give it to others. That we should try to love others even when it's not easy, even when it's hard. That we should try to give our all, as much as we can. It doesn't have to be a lot, it doesn't have to be perfect, but as much as we can, we should give our love to others. So I invite you now to continue meditating on this topic, on God's love, and notice, have I taken God's love for granted? How can I start appreciating God's love, having it more present every day of my life? How can I actually be open to accepting God's love? And lastly, how can I start demonstrating being a reflection of God's love to others? Tell God, "Speak to me, O Lord, for your servant is listening."